Hello and welcome to Chapter 10. This chapter is on initiation and integration. So perfection is not just a burden, it's an illusion. Perfection does not exist outside of our minds. It does not exist in nature. And the body does not need to be controlled. It needs to be trusted and listened to. And the goal of the work that you've done here is to end self-abandonment and to pay elegant attention to your body's messages. Poet David Whyte, become the ancestor of your future happiness. You owe it to yourself to dig as deeply as you can. Now, we can't reason with crisis or illness, and binge eating is a crisis and an illness. It's not an intellectual pursuit that is going to change your healing. Illness and addiction are dark nights of the soul, and asking why isn't helpful. So what we want to do is to be able to move away from description, these are the things that are wrong with me, and move towards prescription. These are the things I think will help. This is how I can move forward. The answer to exhaustion is not necessarily rest, but wholeheartedness. And that is a lot the essence of all the work you've done in these different chapters. So let's talk about a few more things that I think really belong in this class. This class would be incomplete without talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for someone else. It's an internal operation. Now you might choose whether or not you keep it private or not, but forgiveness is for you. It's one of the greatest forms of release. Sometimes we worry that we're going to lose our story of the pain if we forgive, but really forgiveness is about letting go of the story, the drama that's related to it. It's not changing the truth of what's happened to you. You're just no longer carrying that weight. You can still recall the events. Again, nothing's going to change the past, but it does allow you and help you move forward. So sometimes we don't want to change how we feel. Sometimes we want to hold on to our resentment or our pain. And we use that pain as a battle cry. We can use that pain to justify and manipulate, but it grows these bitter walls when we refuse to allow ourselves change. If you're buried in your own shame and guilt, you're not going to be able to contribute to the world. And so what I'm encouraging here is this process of examining forgiveness. It's about releasing our hope for a better past. It's not about forgetting, excusing, tolerating, minimizing, or reconciling. Forgiveness is an act of letting go. Gratitude. So let's review what we talked about in the chapter on mindset when we talk about the limiting beliefs and the reticular activating system in the brain. So our conscious brain is only aware of a fraction of what's happening. Most of what's happening, our subconscious body is being cataloging all of the information and delivering it to the subconscious brain. And then only some of that comes into our awareness. And what happens there varies from person to person. So a person who loves fancy purses could probably tell you what type of purse her 3 closest coworkers have. Meanwhile, another person can't even name brands of fancy purses. So what we value and what we repeat becomes the filters for what we pay conscious attention to. So it's more than that. You might value having a spleen, but you can't feel it cleaning your blood. Most of us aren't even really aware of the work of our spleen unless something goes wrong. So millions of things are happening within our bodies that are below our own awareness. And this is where we're starting to talk about beliefs. So essentially, we only pay attention to the minor percentage of the world. And if your focus is too narrow, you may be paying attention to things that aren't serving you. For example, if you have a belief that you're always getting screwed over, your brain is going to focus on evidence that's proving to you how you're getting screwed over. You will notice more instances of getting cheated compared to the other times you're treated fairly. But our brain's filter is not the best researcher. It measures incorrectly, and it leaves us with negative feelings that justify our own assessment. The brain filter is a lot like a search engine. If you type in, "why does the color blue make me happy?" your search results are going to be related to blue and happiness. There's not going to be any information about how yellow can make you feel happier or how blue makes some people depressed. Again, if you type into Google, "show me puppies," it's not going to show you sports cars. So I might be moving kind of too fast through this, but again, what we ask our brains and what we focus on, that's what our brains tend to give us. So if you focus on ways that you're getting screwed over, you're going to get evidence of how you're getting screwed over. You're not going to be getting evidence of things you should be grateful for or the ways you've been treated fairly. And this is why we're talking about the gratitude practice. So the gratitude practice is one way of rewiring the brain, and it helps your body move into that state of coherence. So coherence is when the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the brain and the heart, are moving in a synchronized, harmonic manner. And a gratitude practice can begin to change the way you see the world. If you have a goal of every day listing 5 things that you're grateful for, even if that's hard to come up with in the beginning, your brain starts to learn the next day, I have to look for things to be grateful for. And over a period of 30 days, your brain will literally be finding more moments of gratitude in a day. Let's take a moment to remember willpower, specifically soulful willpower. So soulful willpower is about when we are aligned to our deepest self and our deepest values. It comes when we're connected and aligned deeply with that voice that hungers for change, that voice that knows what you're capable of. The more you connect and listen to that part of you that's dreaming of a new future, that voice provides the necessary guidance and even a map that's going to help you find that new territory, these new phases of your life. Remember that you're always saying yes to yourself. You're either saying yes to things staying the same or you're saying yes to things changing. You have agency. You have control for what you listen to and what you say yes to. So much of the work over these last 9-10 chapters is about starting to listen to yourself, about having a deeper relationship with yourself. And here are some ways you can do that. Take time to drive in silence. Or if you need to give an example or kind of a boundary around privacy, put your headphones in, but don't actually listen to music or podcasts. Just go for a walk in silence. Sit down on the floor for 5 minutes before you leave the house, or take a longer shower. Simply walking around the block once or twice. You could take a pause by sitting in your car for 30 seconds after work before you go in the door, or you sit in your car before you start driving. Just have 30 seconds there to collect yourself. A big one is an idea of taking social media off your phone, or doing nothing while you're stuck waiting in line. Remember that listening is not an active thing, it's an allowing. It's a spaciousness of letting things come to the surface of your awareness. So we haven't talked much about meditation yet. The present moment is our opportunity to rewire our brains. We spend a lot of time in depressive thoughts about the past or anxious thoughts about the future and not in the moment. But the present moment is just inherently powerful because that is the place where we have choice. And mindfulness involves intentionally bringing our awareness back to the present moment without judgment and being fully engaged in what you're doing. Meditation, on the other hand, that's an intentional focus on like a specific object, such as the breath, a sound, a visual image like a candle, or a mantra. So there's a little bit of a difference between mindfulness and meditation. And there's a real myth with meditation that you are supposed to be able to get your brain to be quiet. And that's just simply not true. The goal of meditation is to be able to let the thoughts come and go, but to return to a place of awareness. So thoughts come. You're not quieting the mind. You don't get the thoughts to completely empty out. I think those are things that people use to try to describe it. But if you think that's the goal, you're going to most likely feel like a failure. So the goal of meditation is just to become an observer of the thoughts, to be able to watch the thoughts and to understand that you are more than your thoughts. Deepak Chopra has this great example about the goal of meditation, and he compares consciousness to the river. So in a natural moving river, the current is actually very fast on the top, and as you go down deep in the river towards the riverbed, the current actually moves very slowly. It just kind of drifts along the river bottom. And that's a lot of how we are. There's the quick moving, fast brain, monkey brain, always churning out thoughts. And as you slow down and drop deeper into yourself, this is often when we think about embodiment, things move slower here. And your ability in meditation to move your focus from the quick moving stuff up here and drop it down to where things are a little bit slower and spacious. And when we learn the skills of moving our awareness like that, we are often able to tap into whole new volumes and resources inside of us. And once again, the present moment is where we make new choices. So using either mindfulness or meditation practices to help create a new habit of being in this moment, that's then where you're going to produce the biggest change. Our body exists right now in this moment. The body doesn't really exist in the past or in the future. So this is all where so much of this starts to become helpful when we talk about like binge eating and how I've talked about before, catching yourself in the binge and being able to end a binge just a few bites early, or to leave a bite or two of food on your plate. Those kinds of things will revolutionize your experience and relationship with food in your body. And all of this is another way of starting to talk about the power of just slowing down. So if you've moved through this class and you're still feeling stuck, a missing element is likely slowing down. The wilderness of our soul moves at a different tempo than modern times. So the ability to slow down, now granted, slowing down might bring up anxiety. You might be afraid of what you find when you slow down, but slowing down is going to help get you what you want. In a world that reveres like productivity and constantly awards busy work, people are literally terrified to slow down or scared to be labeled as lazy. But we only have 24 hours in a day, and to be everywhere is to be nowhere. So take breaks from multitasking, take breaks from electronics, take breaks from listening, always having to like have music and podcasts. Give yourself some time to notice what it's like to unwind the tempo, the pace that you move in your life. A lot of times when people go through these classes or this kind of work, they start to get concerned that they are being selfish. And I want to invert this idea of being self-centered and really call it centered in the self. When you are centered in yourself, you are going to be more available to yourself and to all the people around you, to your different responsibilities and obligations. So being centered in the self is a powerful thing. It's not selfish. What we want to do when we're becoming empowered and learning to hold boundaries and make time for yourself is that we don't want to make nice. We don't want to hide or play small. It's not helpful to wait for motivation, inspiration, or willpower. And please keep your sense of humor. Trust your desires. Invite yourself to congruency. And choose, most importantly, to no longer abandon yourself. And here are some final experiments for Chapter 10. I invite you to compile a list of all the things you want to let go of. Go on and on as long as needed. And then burn that list, put the ashes in a potted plant, and watch that plant grow. And some final reflections for Chapter 10. Some of these are longer than others. Write a forgiveness letter to yourself. Is there anyone to whom you would like to offer forgiveness? Or is there anyone from whom you would like to ask forgiveness? For the next week, start a gratitude practice. List 5 things you are grateful for. or write your eulogy. If you died today, what would you like people to say about you? Make a list of the life dreams you've let go of, dreams that have died, and what new dreams are being born. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self? How will you talk to yourself when this process gets difficult? What are your top 3 learnings from this class? What has already changed in your life as a result of this class? What is your commitment to yourself moving forward, and who will support you on this journey? Okay, that completes chapter 10. I invite you to take your time. Go back over, review anything that you have questions about or you want to hear again. Hold this material close to heart and let it transform you. I'm so grateful for your time and attention, and I believe in your power to transform. Thank you. Goodbye.